Warm me up, oh boy.
As soon as you're ready, we'll start. As soon as you let me know. You good?
I am.
All right, I'm gonna open the select board meeting for Monday, March 11th. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just sign those. All right, want to start with the manifest?
Manifests, I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable manifest of, what's the date on that? March 12th, 2019, and the payroll manifest of March 11th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
So on the minutes, we just got the March 11th and March 25th minutes about an hour ago, so why don't we set them for next meeting,
Defer them,
defer them?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did we have any other minutes from prior meetings that we still needed to get to?
I think we got caught up last time.
We did? Okay.
Yeah, and it's just looking, it doesn't look like in the March 25th meeting that Dawn broke out the action items. So, next on the agenda was to review the action items, which those aren't broken out unless you've got them.
I would assume they're done, because I don't think I owe you anything, but
It's a placeholder in case
Yeah,
there is something that we need to follow up on.
yeah. Reports from assigned boards. No budget committee?
Nope.
Planning doesn't meet until at least next Wednesday, if not the Wednesday after.
Okay. Master plan met. We reviewed a template for an RFP. We're gonna make some revisions based off of that template to more align with Nottingham, and then that will go to the planning board to review for the for the consultant. So until that process is kind of, so that committee is kind of on hold right now until they get to that next stage. So I think we've got, you know, some preliminary work set up pretty well for someone to kind of take that over.
Are you gonna keep up with that?
So I'm on the committee as the select board rep, so someone would have to fill in for
Okay.
that, so,
I mean, you're not gonna continue as
As a
a
community
citizen, as a
member?
community member?
not right now.
No, okay.
We'll see. Town administrator.
not a lot for you. A letter from the governor bragging about his budget that includes funds for repairs of the Mendham's Pond Dam, which I had been operating under the impression that it had been done already, but
Yeah.
I haven't chased that. Polls are open tomorrow, 8 to 7, here at the community center. I think we're ready. Election officials were through here this afternoon, and I think we're good to go. Weather looks fine.
Is Tyler gonna be back to work
I don't
that?
think so.
Okay.
No.
So I can't get there till like 6, and you said you're,
I can be there until 5, all day.
I'm good all day.
okay,
All right, so
we're
somebody will be
covered.
here. Okay. Today was Dawn Callie Murdo's last day with us. Sends her regards. She'll be back with a couple of little project-based things in April. She's off to Aruba.
Warm.
What's that?
Somewhere warm.
Yes. And you are all aware, but the public is not aware that we have hired a public works director. Sean McLean will start in a couple of weeks.
Great news.
And
Been a long haul,
Long time coming.
but
yeah, we're looking forward to it.
yeah, it's like a really good.
And I'm late in the interview game for replacing Dawn as well, so I'll have news for you on that shortly, I think. And that's all I have for you.
So I can just make a quick comment in regards to Dawn and you, Charlene. I understand that this will be your last, other than the town meeting.
Town meeting.
So I'd like to say thank you. For my first year being on the board here, you have been very helpful in guiding me and learning the ways of how the Board of Selectmen work and so on. So I took your advice to heart. I cherish your input, and I just want to say on behalf of the rest of the board members, thank you for your service, and I truly hope this isn't the last that we'll see of you.
All right, well, you gotta stop now, otherwise you'll make me cry.
You'll definitely be missed. It's not too late to change your mind, is it?
Yeah, I really had, I really, enjoyed the time on the board, and I think it's an excellent board, and, yeah, whoever comes on is coming in with a really good board. I mean,
And big shoes to fill.
okay. Town meeting prep?
Yeah, I think we're ready with all but the content. We've got, the room will be set up, our attorney, one of our firm's attorneys will be there. Moderator's got the plan for, you met with her a couple weeks ago. We've got a full day. You have some suggested talking points for the articles that you're proposing, and I think you wanted to run through those tonight.
Yeah, especially for you, Ben, because you've got quite a few, and I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with what, kind of
Did I not bring that list with me?
the process, and you can, because I only have one that I have to speak to, but, I don't know if we want to go through them one by one, or do you, well, since Tyler and Donna are on here, so they're on their own, but do you guys want to go through the ones that you're responsible for, take a look at what Chris has put together, ask any questions, or if you had other thoughts that you might want to add to it, hit the down arrow.
Okay. What Chris has put in there is pretty straightforward. Are we going to have a projector or anything?
We will, and if you want to do anything around those equipment, I brought that stuff with me because I want to make sure we get the right pictures. You and I can maybe do that offline.
Yeah.
For the truck, I'll get a picture of the old truck
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
the proposed truck, the excavator, so people know what an excavator is and looks like.
Yep.
Are
we,
you gonna put together like a slide for each warrant article, or?
we have, some will have, some don't, I don't think it's necessary, but I think we'll have the
Right, 'cause
text
A lot of them are
there.
standard.
Yeah. Fire chief for his is gonna have a PowerPoint. A couple of the petitioners have asked if they could do it, so I'll build those in. The 2 equipment purchases, we can put a picture up.
Yep.
The others, I'll have the text ready in case there are amendments, and I can do that on screen. I think I'll be able to keep up with that. I don't know that any kind of slides are necessary for any of the other ones. There isn't one for the budget, because everybody has that meaty document in hand, so,
And Miska's all lined up?
yeah, I've touched base with him. We're gonna talk this week and make sure he's got what he needs.
Yeah.
So if there's others that you think need some kind of graphic presentation, we can certainly do that.
Definitely the excavator and the truck.
Why is that not going
I figured it.
You want to just start whizzing through them?
Just so you know, just by looking at computers, they break on me.
5, 6, and 7 are the fire department.
Just hit the arrow down.
Okay.
8 is the
Well, we gotta go back up, right?
data terminals for the PD.
And-
Right, and Gunner's gonna talk
Yep.
about those, right?
Yep.
Gunner, okay, yeah.
9 is a reserve fund, 10 is a dump truck purchase,
And we've
11.
got all the reserve fund amounts ready. Does
Yep,
that usually-
I think I might have to plug one of these in for somebody, but yes, we'll have those handy for you.
People typically ask how much is like in the reserve fund.
Yeah, so you might as well just offer that up in your initial introduction to it.
Or how much will remain in it,
Yeah.
or,
After the expenditure.
yeah.
12 is reconstruction for Ledge Farm.
Who's doing that one?
Donna?
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah.
Is that just for the whole road or a certain part of it?
No, that was just for a certain part of it, right?
The
Yeah,
upper
it's
end?
engineering, and with whatever we have left, we start at the Epping end and come in, and then next year we'll be talking about what we learned from the engineers and what it's gonna take to finish it.
Because what we did last year was we put in for the bond, you know, to do it all, but what we had talked about, if the bond wasn't gonna pass, then we're still gonna do the work, it's just gonna be over a matter
Yeah,
of
it's gonna be broken up.
Stages. yeah.
stages and years.
I think those residents that live on that road, as long as they see progress, hopefully, that'll go a long way to maybe improving the negativity that surrounds it.
So Donna's doing that one?
Yeah. 13's a reserve fund, 14's a reserve fund, 15's a reserve fund, 16's a reserve fund, all standard stuff. 17, I didn't give you any notes, Charlene, on 17, which is the lease option.
Right.
We can trade notes this week if you feel like you need it.
Yeah, I think touch on a little bit of kind of the inability in the past for when it wasn't owned, when the town didn't own it, and the realtors' communications to us for the difficulty in finding any use for it, and then also what has transpired since we've owned it, to whatever extent that we can talk about it, so
Yep.
I think those are the two things to point out.
Yeah. Yeah, and a little bit on these are legally, they're, there's the 3-year window for
Right, we still
repurchase.
have, right,
How the law treats tax deeded properties, and that the board can sell them just whenever they wish.
right,
And how you're asking for a little bit different authority if you choose not to sell it.
right.
So I think it's important that voters understand that selling is the default and leasing is different. So we'll just have to explain why you need different authority for that.
Yep.
Anything else you want to bake into that?
No, I hadn't thought about the kind of that explanation, so I think that that's important to clarify, yeah. And then in reading the minutes from the 25th, I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about that, so I can include kind of, if the residents approve it, that we're gonna continue to seek other RFPs, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need,
The rest of
we don't need a map of that or anything, right? I mean, 9 out of 10 people at town meeting know what we're talking about anyway, if not 19 out of 20, right?
I mean, I think from the time that we took in the informational meetings that we had about it and stuff,
Okay.
and, I mean, I don't know, what do you folks think? We need a picture of it?
It probably wouldn't hurt. That way we're not excluding anybody that's new to town or, just wasn't following it at the time, but now might be interested in,
Okay.
how did this come about?
Where is map 3, lot 6? That kind of,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we had don't we have, like a sky view of it
Yeah,
or
I can make something,
aerial
yeah.
view
Yeah.
that outlines it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
You might want to be ready to answer the question, because somebody's going to ask, why are we even doing this? Why don't we just sell the land and be done with it?
You're gonna
Right?
get
So,
those questions.
be able to speak to the potential benefits for the town,
For the income,
yeah, the revenue streams, yeah.
yeah. Well, and I think that, again, I think pointing to the kind of the history of it not being able to sell
Right.
it, because everybody wanting municipal water and sewer, and, and/or the
Yeah.
water is.
And
is
we don't
really-
offer that.
Is really the two options, or that's the one option that we've been given, but, so. All right. Are you comfortable with the ones that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty straightforward. We did this last year. There's a pretty basic narrative. So I'm fine. None of these are so complex that, yeah, I'm not worried about it. And all these petition articles, the petitioner presumably is gonna come to the mic to speak to them.
Yeah, I would assume in most cases anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
And the moderator said she was reaching out to them to
Yep.
Yeah.
explain that, so.
Yeah, a couple of the petitioners have asked me about PowerPoint things, so that'll all be ready to go. There's not, unless there's questions, there's not a role for you in those, really, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
You do have one that you agreed last time you were gonna propose an amendment
amendment,
to.
yeah.
We should,
So I will set one of you up with that language, and I'll set the moderator up with it in advance, but,
Which one was that? Chris, what was it? Which one is going to be amended?
the board's gonna propose an amendment to number 24.
which is,
The acceptance of Moore's Road.
okay. Thank you.
And the attorney's gonna be there the whole day?
Yep.
Because you never knew what questions come up.
Yeah, she's been through the warrant. We'll talk again this week and make sure she's ready, but very few of these are, they get into legal stuff. And it's, I mean, you
I
never know
think
what could
this
come up, but.
would be in a short town meeting, other than the petition warrant articles. I mean, because most of everything is standard.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
boilerplate, yeah.
Did you forget about that one? That was drawn out last year.
Oh, well, yeah. We'll see what happens with that one. The last one.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for things to go along in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions on that? Everybody good to go?
I'm good to go.
Everybody's ready?
Yeah, I'm here all week too, if you want to run through stuff or bound, find you're missing a piece or whatever,
Yeah.
just holler.
Dress in layers, because it will get cold. It always does.
Yeah.
Jim is cold.
Just get a bonfire outside.
All right. Next up is the draft road surface management study. Long awaited.
Yes, indeed. So what you have is a late draft of a report from Stratford Regional Planning Commission. We've been talking about this since last summer, and I don't know how in-depth you want to get with it at this point, but just a quick synopsis of the point of the whole thing. This is a quantitative evaluation of our asphalt roads. It's a method that is common in lots of places. I think New Hampshire is a little bit behind the rest of the world in adopting this, particularly in smaller towns. Our New Hampshire cities are doing things like this routinely. In our area, in our regional planning area, which is Stratford Regional Planning, I think we're the third town to go through this. Rollinsford and Middleton, I think, is the other one. I know Rollinsford was first. Middleton's done it. So we contracted with Stratford Regional Planning to survey all the roads and use this program out of UNH T² called Road Surface Management System. What they did is drove every inch of asphalt road and evaluated sections of roughly a quarter mile in length for different types of cracking, heaving, all the flaws you can find in an asphalt road. All in a GIS-enabled system, so we now have a look at what the conditions are, what types of flaws the roads have, and the system takes all that information and scores each section of roadway with something called a pavement condition index, which is just a simple one number, how good is this road, scale of 0 to 100. The idea of the 0 to 100, anything from 90 or 95 up is excellent, 75 to 95 is good, 45 to 75 is fair, and anything under 45 is poor or failing in the drastic sense. So we now have that starting point, and then we use that information to map out work for the next several years to keep or improve the pavement condition index based on different treatment methods and repair methods. And so we looked at each segment of road. We actually did it in entire road lengths rather than segments of road, just to keep it manageable. But laid out maintenance plan for each section of road for the next 5 years. And then the system takes that information, says, okay, if you're going to use preservation method X, you will improve the PCI on that road by this many points. The road deteriorates at a certain rate every year. If you don't do anything to a road, just let people keep driving on it all the time, it goes from 100 down to 0 eventually. You have to keep on it. So we applied maintenance methods to each road and looked at what it would do to that particular road as well as the network as a whole. We looked at the whole town. We have, right now, our network, the whole overall asphalt road network, averages somewhere in the mid-80s, 85, 86, which is really quite good. The other two towns that went through it are in the low 70s overall. So overall, our asphalt's in good shape. We took their projections of what does each repair method do for the quality of the road and the PCI index, the cost of that method, and we projected out 5 years worth of work. The idea being you do this every 5 or 6 years. You go out and survey again and say, okay, 5 years ago we said we're here. How do we do? And what do we do for the next 5 years? You can go longer than 5. Where it was our first go at it, and we identified some challenges with the process that it just seemed to not make much sense to go too much further than that. So we laid out all of that by road, and we set some parameters on how low we were willing to let any given road get on the scale. We set some budget parameters. We said, spend what we're spending now. Let's see what we can do with essentially that shim and seal coat line in the budget, that $300,000 that we budget. We inflate that each year a little bit, but generally that's what we've been spending. And what is that? If we keep doing that in this method, where does that leave us 5 years from now? And so I don't think we quite get to that in the draft that you have. You'll see that in the final. But the short version is we stay within a few points of where we are right now, spending what we spend on the maintenance plan that we've laid out. It gets us to, when we get to the final draft, you'll see a forecast of what each segment will look like in PCI. We have today's and we have what it'll look like in 5 years. So the overall picture remains pretty good. We, in those 5 years, address our worst roads, which is not how you think about these things. You don't necessarily do the worst ones first, but we've got a couple that are really way down on the scale, so we fit those into the plan. We prioritized, as part of this process, we gave them a local assessment of the importance of each road and the traffic volume on each road. You want to obviously pay more attention to your busier roads. They deteriorate faster, they're more important. So for us, that's McCrillis, Mill Pond, Freeman Hall, Deerfield, Smoke. Yeah, those are the kinds of roads that are a top tier, most important, heavily traveled road. You can have different, some roads are considered a little bit more important than they are busy, just because of where they connect to, or they're an alternate route somewhere or other. And you'll see in the final how we laid all those out in terms of importance and traffic. But so 5 years from now, we think we're going to be about where we are, spending about what we do using this plan. What's the real change for us is, first and foremost, a quantitative assessment of these things. We've never done. We did one of these like 20 years ago, kind of when they were first learning how to do it. So that's new to us. Second thing that's gonna be new to us is some more, a broader array of maintenance methods. We have pretty much overlaid roads, put a new sheet of asphalt on top of them, or reconstructed them when they got bad. Those have been really the bulk of our highway spending for the last 20 years. We're gonna introduce some crack sealing, and maybe some other methods. We didn't project them out, but there's a lot more out there that you can do earlier in the life cycle of a road that's cheaper. It's cheaper to maintain a road in good condition than it is to let it deteriorate and then rebuild it, and you have some of that here in the report. But so you'll see us introducing some methods that are widely used, we just haven't used them here, to try and inexpensively maintain roads at the high end of that PCI scale.
So Chris.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah, so I think this is like fabulous. If, so say a development was gonna happen, you know, off of one of the roads that was gonna increase traffic, and it's slated for, then the planning board could say, okay, developer, you can do this, but we need this road repaired because X traffic. I mean, right? I mean, we can use this to help the planning board in reviewing developments.
Yes, we can use it in a few ways. Yes, we can do that. The planning board's probably, in the case of the larger developments, they're probably gonna do their own traffic studies, or look for those. There's a couple that are, I think the planning board ought to be looking for some help in fixing up roads, given the volume that I would suspect that would come out of some of the developments. So yes, this is a tool that we could use that. We can change this midstream. We can go back to Stratford Regional and say, okay, we want to add this treatment method, or we want to shift the roads around. And it's all in there. That's pretty easy to do now that we have the starting point. And we've got a new public works director coming in. He wants to, bring in some new ideas, wants to shuffle things around. That's all at our fingertips now. So, we can continually tweak this. This isn't, nothing here is set in stone. Developments will change that. In laying out the schedule, we anticipated a few things that we know are already going on. We wait on, the computer may tell you to do the asphalt portions of Case and Mitchell right now. But Oak Ridge is still under construction, the heavy trucking is still going on. It makes more sense to do those in 2 years when that's done, right? So there's a few instances of that where we either cluster work together geographically, maybe some a little bit sooner or a little bit later than the algorithm might tell you to do it, but by clustering it, you can cut down on the mobilization costs, you can shorten the length of a job, you can minimize the disruption. So that's one thing, and then you work around development, the same thing. So we tried to incorporate both of those things. What that told us to wait on Case and Mitchell, for example. The planning board's got, it's got 4 brewing right now. 2 are right on the Route 4, so those aren't our problem in the road sense.
Well, they one of them it could affect Smoke Street, right?
There's one off of Mitchell.
The ones that are on Route 4, I think it's on that end across Route 4.
Yeah, it's across Route 4 from
But I mean, if
Smoke.
they cut across, Smoke Street could see more traffic.
Yeah, that's something a traffic study could, planning, if the planning board wants to go down that road, they could. I think in most cases, anything that empties out onto a state road, you're gonna assume that most of the traffic stays on the state road network, but, I'm no expert on that, so that's something for the planning board to consider. The planning board's looking at one on Guile right now, on the asphalt portion of Guile. I think that's live at the planning board, right? It's not. Or it's about to. Oh, you started it. You didn't have a quorum last time, and they couldn't start it, but it's coming. And the other, I think they've seen a conceptual off Mitchell on the gravel portion of Mitchell, so that's gonna be a separate, you know, Mitchell's on our radar anyway. That's gonna change, that development could change that plan a little bit. This doesn't speak to gravel, it's just a current asphalt, so. The thinking of, you know, we could spend more and improve the road network. Obviously, you know, you spend more often, you get better results. But we set that, you know, let's keep it where we are, and leave ourselves we spend the 300 on what we call shim and seal coat in the budget, in the operating budget. And then we typically have a reconstruction warrant article over and above that. It's around 200,000. This year it's 200,000. If we can keep that has been reconstruction. That's been asphalt reconstruction in the past. The most recently, Cooper Hill was paving of gravel, but the year before that was Little River was an asphalt. We spent 200,000 to redo Little River Road. If we can save that 200,000 for the other stuff that we know we need to do, culverts and gravel that we want to pave.
Catch basins, all that stuff.
Yeah, those we might catch in the operating budget, the catch basin side of things, but the other major projects, if we can maintain what we've got for the 300,000 ballpark, that leaves us the 200 we've been spending on to keep doing projects, like Ledge Farm and the culverts and other gravel that we want to get to, so. I think it's generally good news in that we think we can maintain for about what we have in the operating budget. We intentionally held back a little bit this year. The spend this year, I think you have it in the draft here, is light this year, just because we don't know how good the pricing is in the system. We think it's okay. We compared it to some stuff we had last year. It was a little low in the system. So we didn't want to fall behind in year one. And we want to have a little bit of flexibility on the front end. If it turns out we go out to bid with our projects this year, particularly our crack sealing, say, and we find that this is right and we're underspent or over budgeted, we can expand. We can get into next year's work, or we can take on something else in year one. The following years are pretty much up against it. So I suspect we will go to bid on overlay for this year and crack sealing for this year and really be able to test these numbers and then go back to our next 4 years and say, all right, we were too optimistic on this, and we'll learn something this year. But the early plan this year is to do a whole bunch of crack sealing, which we haven't done in forever, and to do some overlay around the center of town here, South Summer, Church or Halls, one of those two, I forget. Garish, across from South Summer. And there's a cul-de-sac off South Summer that's chewed up. Canton Court, I believe it is. Those are all, that's this year's plan right now. So we'll be able to show you all that in map form, list form, what have you, as we get the final draft here.
And when will they have that?
I think if there's anything you, in your first read, want to see more about, they will build it in. But I would say within a week or so will be to final. Whether we get it, it might take a little bit more than that to get it to like put it on the website, show the maps, and maybe another week or so beyond that. But this is the kind of thing we can publish and make available to people so they can see what our longer term draft plan is. But
And I think sharing it with the planning board is critical too. Cool, all right, looks good. Does anybody have any other questions?
We'll give it to you in year by year. We'll give it to you in map form. You'll be able to see, okay, here's the red list roads. this year, and what are they gonna be 5 years from now? Is there anything else you wanna see, any other way you wanna see it presented, or?
Nothing stood out with me. I just thought it was very informative, and actually seems like it's gonna be a good, useful tool for us going forward.
Yeah, we were disappointed with a couple aspects of it. Some of we were looking for a little bit more guidance from the system, the algorithm, or whatever it is, the ghost in that machine, that, to tell us what's really the most efficient order in which to do things. It's recommending things, but it's not based on, the 40 different variables that you have. So I was hoping for a little bit more there. And the second thing is that the deterioration rates, they pretty much project that every flavor of road is going to drop
The same.
4 to 5 points every year. And it probably does happen statewide, that probably is what happens. But that's not been our experience here, particularly with our lower traffic roads. So, a cul-de-sac that just carries the traffic of the people that live on it, we can look at roads that we overlaid 10 years ago and they're still scoring in the 80s. So we know they're not deteriorating this fast, and that kind of pollutes this a little bit, and we had to pull back on that. I think our actual results will be better than advertised here, because the deterioration rates on those quieter roads is not that fast. But we'll know that in 5 years. And, certainly on the busier roads that are carrying truck traffic, that rate of deterioration is easy to see. You can drive the roads that we overlaid 3 and 4 years ago and see cracking in the busy ones, because of the truck traffic. I promised I was going to be short-winded tonight, but.
All right, anything for you?
No.
I don't have anything, Chris. I mean, I just trying to digest what's here. And I'm just not knowledgeable enough to know what questions I should be asking.
Yeah, take your time with it. We're still learning too. There's a lot more out there that we didn't get into. We only picked the maintenance methods that we had some familiarity with.
Yeah.
The people, Jack and I, and
Right.
we could get into a lot more, but didn't want to try 4 new things in the first year either.
Right.
So. But the key to understanding all of this is this deterioration curve, and how roads, once they start to deteriorate, it accelerates and it gets worse much faster. And the trick is to do the maintenance
In the green
part here before it dives off, because the repair methods get much more expensive as this happens. So the trick is to catch it at the right time. Don't do it too soon, but if you wait too long, it just gets more expensive really quickly. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think once it gets, I mean, it might be worth just going and getting the planning board's input on it prior to it becoming a.
Yeah, and this is really intended to be a living thing. I think, they wouldn't give me the keys to go in and monkey with the numbers, but I'll keep working on it. But we'll definitely share with the planning board once we get one more pass at it here.
Okay. And we have no appointments tonight?
Correct.
Right. So the next thing on the agenda was to review any action items from tonight's meeting.
No, action items for next meeting.
Oh, for next meeting. Right. I don't think we had any, other than.
This is where you set them up for next meeting.
Yeah,
not
this is
you
where we
look
would,
back.
like, if there was
In the
something.
last hour, have you identified any? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
no. Well,
no, I mean, we've gone over our town meeting prep, really, that's the only outstanding thing ahead of us at the moment, so. Again, it's a placeholder for
Well, and
anything that
I would also put that as a final draft, because you know how, we're saying kind of, we get going and, 5 meetings away, we're like, oh yeah, we didn't,
Yeah,
and we keep kind of this running list, so I would add that as, an action item to get the
final
finalization,
draft.
the final report.
add that to your notes.
Our minute taker over there.
Yes.
It's unfair, but who actually did this study, and did it cost you anything?
It was Stratford Regional
Planning
Planning
Commission.
Commission. And yes, it was 2,000?
No, it's more than that. No, it's more like 8.
8,000?
Okay,
And that came from that state-funded,
Yep, that special.
SB 38 money.
Yep, special state appropriation for highway projects.
They funded them.
Yep.
That's fascinating, it's amazing, actually.
yeah. Okay, no non-public, right?
Correct.
Take a motion?